The kitchen clock ticked like a countdown as I sat at the island, eyes glued to the wood grain in the table. My drink was sweating into a ring on the granite. I hadn't taken a sip. Not because I didn't want it, but because I couldn't make sense of anything, not even that. There was a sound, keys in the door. I didn't look up. Her heels tapped in, sharp and rehearsed. She never used to wear heels unless we were going somewhere together. Now they seemed to click in time with the rhythm of another life I wasn't invited to. Jessica. Her hair curled in that artificial salon way, makeup pristine like she hadn't just worked a 10-hour shift like she claimed. She walked in, paused. I could feel her scanning the room, calculating. I still didn't lift my head. I didn't need to. I knew the face she wore when she was guilty. I'd seen it once, years ago, when she dented my car and tried to say it was already there. The same exact silence. The same adjustment of her bag strap. The same fake calm in her voice when she said, "Didn't expect you to be up." I finally looked up. "Yeah," I said. "Didn't expect you to be out." Her blink was quick. Controlled. Impressive almost. She stepped past me like I was background noise. "It was Amanda's birthday," she said, not looking back. "I told you." "No, you didn't," I said. "You said you had a deadline." Another pause. "Not long." She was quick. Always had been. "Oh, right? That's what I meant." She asked me last minute. "I figured you'd be asleep." There's a kind of tired that doesn't come from lack of sleep. It comes from being in the same room as someone who's lying to your face and believing they're doing it well. I stood. Quietly. I didn't say anything else. Just walked to the hallway closet. Opened the door. Pulled out the small black gift bag I had resealed with tape. I placed it on the counter between us like it was evidence in a courtroom. Jessica stopped mid-step. Her eyes flicked to the bag, then to me. Then back to the bag. She said nothing. "Whose are?" I asked. Calm. I don't know how I kept it together, but I did. Silence. Then she laughed. A single, forced, too loud laugh. "Are you serious?" she said. "You went through my stuff?" I didn't move. Didn't blink. Just stared. She sighed. Rolled her eyes. "It's nothing. Just a friend. A joke." I opened the card. Slowly. Deliberately. Held it out to her. "Can't wait for Thursday," I read. "That's yesterday." Another pause. Slight shift in her stance. Then she did what she always did, redirected. "Jesus, you're being insane. You go through one stupid card and suddenly I'm cheating on you." "Are you?" I asked. The silence stretched. Then she smiled, a cruel, patronizing smile I didn't recognize. "What if I am?" Something cracked in me. Not loud. Just a fracture. The kind that changes the whole foundation. I didn't yell. Didn't throw anything. Didn't ask for more lies. I just nodded. "Okay," I said. "Then I guess we're done." Her face faltered for the first time. Just for a second. Then the mask came back. "Fine," she said. "Maybe we are." And just like that she walked past me. Those clicking heels again, fading down the hallway as if this was all beneath her. I stood there, in the kitchen, the ring of my untouched drink expanding slowly on the counter like a spreading wound. She left the room and something left me with her. Not just love. Not just trust. Something deeper. Something final. I didn't sleep that night. The bedroom felt like a crime scene. Her perfume still lingered in the sheets, expensive, heady, unmistakably not for me. I lay on my back, staring at the ceiling, counting the quiet seconds that passed while the weight of everything pressed on my chest like a slow suffocation. Every creak in the floorboards felt like a betrayal. Jessica stayed in the guest room. Didn't knock. Didn't explain. She just vanished into the other side of the house like a roommate you accidentally slept with once and regretted. At around 2 a.m. I heard her whispering on the phone. I couldn't make out the words, just the tone, soft, smug, and intimate in a way she hadn't spoken to me in years. I got up at 4 a.m. The house was dead silent. I stood in the kitchen, looked around at the leftovers of a life I didn't recognize anymore. The fruit bowl she insisted on keeping full even though neither of us ate fruit. The stack of wedding photos still on the shelf, mocking me with their forced joy. The fridge magnet from our honeymoon in Maui. And that damn coat closet, the one where I found the gift bag. Like a wound in the house. I couldn't take it anymore. I needed proof. Not for her. For me. I opened her laptop. It was stupidly easy. She used the same password for everything, her birthday, January 11th. I wish I could say I felt guilty, but after the card, after the smirk, I felt nothing but cold curiosity. I didn't expect to find much. I didn't expect her to be that careless. But she was. There were emails. Dozens. From R. His name was Ryan. Ryan Collins. He signed every message like a letter, old-fashioned, poetic. There were no photos. No nudes. Nothing like that. But the words Jesus. Thinking of you constantly. You were incredible last night. I can't believe you're still with him. You deserve to be more than someone's background noise. I scrolled until my eyes blurred. The emails went back months. Months. Weekend work trips that suddenly made sense. Her new trainer who she never named. All the missed dinners. The cold silences. The half-hearted kisses. I shut the laptop quietly. She wasn't cheating. She was in a whole other relationship. I went into the garage and just sat there, engine off, in the dark. Hands on my knees. Breathing. Trying not to scream. And the worst part? It wasn't rage. It wasn't even grief. It was relief. Relief that I finally knew. That the gaslighting was real. That I wasn't imagining things. That I hadn't just let us drift. She pushed. When I walked back inside at dawn, she was already in the kitchen pretending to make coffee. She looked at me like I was the one who disappeared. No apology. No shame. Are we going to talk like adults now? She said. I looked at her. At this woman I had loved. Who used to sing in the shower and get nervous before every family dinner. Who used to cry during Pixar movies and sleep with one sock half on. Who now stared at me like I was the inconvenience in her fairy tale. No, I said. Not anymore. Her lips curled. Wow. Real mature. And with that she walked away again. But this time I wasn't just watching. This time I started planning. Saturday morning came wrapped in false calm. Sunlight streamed in through the blinds like nothing had changed, but everything had. I made eggs. Mechanically. Toast. Coffee. 2 mugs out of habit, then put one back. She wasn't coming down. Jessica didn't emerge until almost noon. She was wearing a hoodie that wasn't mine, gray, slightly oversized, with a subtle logo stitched on the sleeve. Probably his. She had that smug, post-storm glow about her, the kind people wear when they've already made peace with the wreckage. I watched her pour orange juice like she hadn't nuked our life 48 hours ago. You're being weird, she said, sitting at the table like it was just another weekend. I said nothing. She sipped. Are you planning to sulk forever? Or are we going to deal with this like rational adults? She said deal like she stepped in something. I found your emails, I said. Her face didn't change. Not even a flinch. I know everything. She tilted her head like I'd spoken in another language. So? That word hit harder than anything else. So? That was it? Not denial. Not a tear. Not even anger. Just indifference. I looked at her and realized she was already gone. She'd left a long time ago. All this time I'd been holding the sides of a hollowed-out marriage, trying to keep the structure upright while she'd been carving an escape tunnel. I want a divorce, I said. She blinked once. Slowly. Then smiled, not from surprise, but satisfaction. I figured, she said. Good. Good. Not I'm sorry. Not let's talk. Just good. She stood. Picked up her phone. Thumbed through it, probably texting him. I'll call my lawyer. There was no fight. No begging. Not even bitterness. Just business. It would have hurt less if she'd screamed. If she'd thrown something. If she'd cried. But this? This cool, composed corporate exit? It felt like I'd been terminated from a company I built. I didn't ask questions. Didn't ask how long. Didn't ask why. I didn't want more lies. Later that night, I walked past the guest room and heard her laughing. On the phone. Whispering. Giggling like a teenager. She didn't close the door. She didn't care that I heard. That night I couldn't sleep again. I sat on the patio with a beer in one hand and a printed copy of the emails in the other. I wasn't even sure why I'd printed them. Proof? Catharsis? No. I wanted to feel the weight of them. See the paper wrinkle in my hand. See the ink smear. See something real. And that's when it hit me she'd never respected me. Not from the start. I mistook attention for affection. She never loved me. She loved being adored. And I was convenient. Predictable. Safe. Until I wasn't. Until I stopped buying the performance. I took the papers, walked back into the house, and placed them neatly on her pillow. She never said a word about them. Didn't even mention them the next day. By then, I was already looking for a new place to live. Let her keep the house. She can keep the echo too, Sunday. The house was quieter than it had ever been, but not peaceful. It was the quiet of things breaking just beyond hearing, with settling wrong, wires humming with tension. I packed in silence. Box after box. T-shirts, old concert stubs, the cufflinks she gave me on our wedding day. I didn't take much. Didn't want much. Just the things that felt mine. Jessica floated through the house like a guest in a hotel lobby. She didn't ask where I was going. Didn't ask if I had a plan. She barely acknowledged me. Every so often I'd catch her glancing at her phone with a smirk that she didn't bother hiding. He was in there. Ryan. The man with the tie. The man who pulled her out of her stress. She didn't even try to hide it now. Left the laptop open. One tab was a Zillow listing for apartments perfect for couples. Another was a playlist called R plus J Blackheart. She was done pretending. Or maybe she wanted me to see. A final twist of the knife. The only time she spoke was when she passed by the door with a mug in hand. Are you sure you're not overreacting? She asked casually. Not sarcastically. Genuinely baffled. Like I was the problem. I stared at her for a second. Then I laughed. It came out of me before I could stop it. The kind of laugh you let out when the absurdity of the whole damn thing finally clicks. Her eyes narrowed, confused. She didn't like that I laughed. I gave you everything, I said. Time, loyalty, my whole damn self. And I didn't ask for that, she said, shrugging. You chose to be that guy. That guy. I didn't respond. There was nothing left to say. I zipped the suitcase shut. She stood in the hallway, arms crossed, posture relaxed, like she was finally seeing the finish line. And that's when I paused. Because I remembered something. Something stupid. Something small. Our anniversary was coming up. The 7th. We had dinner reservations I made 2 months ago. A quiet place on the lake. Her favorite view. I'd even planned to propose again, something symbolic, a second start. I had the ring in the top drawer of my desk, tucked under the warranty for our fridge. She didn't remember. But I did. So I left the house around noon. Drove across town. Not to the new apartment I'd lined up, not yet. I went to see him. Ryan Collins. Thanks to her unprotected laptop and a couple of his careless emails, I knew where he worked. An architecture firm downtown. Sleek, modern, full of glass and angles. I parked across the street and waited. No plan. No weapon. Just clarity. At 12:58 p.m. he came out. Tall, clean-shaven, the kind of guy who wore button-ups with the sleeves rolled perfectly to the elbow like it was a brand. He looked like a walking cologne commercial. I didn't approach. Just watched. And then there she was. Jessica. Walking up the sidewalk, practically glowing. They didn't kiss, but their bodies leaned too close. Too comfortable. Too rehearsed. She said something and he laughed, touched her back. She smiled in that way, the real way. The one I hadn't seen in years. That was the moment I realized this wasn't just a fling. She was in love with him. And maybe, just maybe, he wasn't in love with her yet. I waited until she turned to go back to her car. Then I stepped out and crossed the street. Ryan, I called. He turned, squinted. Didn't recognize me? I'm Jessica's husband, I said. His eyes flicked wide. Just for a second. Then narrowed. I think we should talk. I called his name and saw his body stiffen. He froze for a beat, then looked past me at the house I'd just left behind and back at my face. His palms were pressed into his hips like he was bracing himself for a storm. I'm Mark, I said, keeping my voice low. Jessica's husband. His eyes narrowed. Right? He took a step back. Listen, man, I didn't know. Know what? My heart thudded so hard I felt it in my throat. That she was married. Ryan exhaled, shoulders dropping. He ran a hand through his perfectly coiffed hair and glanced down at the sidewalk. She told me she was separated. That she and her ex had split 6 months ago. I blinked. Separated? 6 months? We've been together for 7 years. She never told me. He shook his head. She said it was complicated. She said she didn't want to drag her new life into her old one. His voice cracked on that last word, new life. He looked older all at once, rawer, like I was seeing the real him for the first time. I took a breath. You believe that? I wanted to. His shoulders slumped further. When she smiled at me, I felt like I'd been chosen or rescued. I never asked too many questions. I should have. He turned and held up his phone. I have texts, everything she said. I can show you. The sun glinted off his screen as he unlocked it, but before he could hand it to me, a sudden roar sliced through the air. I heard a horn blare, long and insistent. My pulse raced as we both looked up. Jessica's car had pulled into the lot across the street. She threw it into park, leapt out, and stomped toward us in those same heels that had once sounded like promise and now felt like indictment. Ryan and I exchanged a look, two men who'd fallen for the same lie, standing side by side in the midday heat. She stopped a few feet away, chest heaving, phone in hand. You two think you've got me figured out? Her voice was tight, furious. You think you know everything? She jabbed her phone at us. On the screen was a group chat labeled Jay's New Chapter. At the top in bold was a message from her, Phase 2 is live. Enjoy the fireworks. Below that were dozens of names, colleagues, friends, even my own brothers. She let the phone drop to her side. I told you both. I told you what you wanted to hear. I did what I had to do. Ryan's face went pale. He looked at me, then at her, then back at me, confusion and fury warring in his eyes. I felt a cold spark in my chest, betrayal weaving a new, darker bond between us. She straightened her back, hands on hips. I'm done with secrets, she said. Phase 2 is exactly what it sounds like. You'll hear from a lawyer soon, Mark. And you? Don't bother calling me. I'm already 5 steps ahead. She turned on her heel and marched back to the car. Ryan and I watched her slide behind the wheel. The engine roared to life. She revved it once, glaring at us in the rearview mirror, then sped off before she even shifted into drive. Silence stretched between us, broken only by the faint echo of her taillights disappearing down the street. I looked at Ryan. He looked at me. Both of us felt the ground shift under our feet. I guess, he finally said, voice hollow, we're in the same boat. I nodded. Yeah. My throat was thick. Looks like we are. We didn't speak again for a long minute. Ryan sat on the curb, elbows on his knees, staring into the heat mirage rising off the asphalt. I stayed standing, arms crossed, trying to process what the hell had just happened. Phase 2? A group chat? My brother in there? This wasn't just infidelity. It was strategy. I need to ask you something, I said, still watching the empty street where her car had vanished. Ryan didn't look up. Yeah? Did she ever mention my name? Ever talk about me like I was still around? He rubbed his face with both hands and let out a hollow laugh. She called you the ghost? Said you were always gone. Distant. Wrapped up in your own world. She said she was basically single in everything but name. The words hit like gravel in my gut. But I didn't flinch. She lied to both of us, I said flatly. Ryan finally looked up at me. I think she enjoyed it. I didn't respond. But deep down, I knew he was right. Jessica wasn't careless, she was deliberate. Every step, every omission, every smirk, she was pulling strings. Not just to escape, but to dominate. To win. Back at the house, I found her bedroom door locked. I knocked once. Go away, she called. I need the laptop, I said. You'll get it in court. I walked away. I didn't need it anymore. I had everything I needed. The next day, I called my lawyer. Told him everything. The affair. The messages. The smirk. He listened patiently and then asked, did you see the prenup? We never signed one, I said. A pause. Well, he said, that's good for you. The process started faster than I expected. Jessica served her own countersuit before I even signed the first paper, alleging emotional neglect, abandonment, and something she called manipulative silence. She wasn't just walking away. She wanted to drag me through the fire with her. But here's where she miscalculated. She thought I'd break. What she didn't realize is that once you're already standing in ashes, you stop fearing the fire. I responded through my lawyer with evidence. Emails, texts, photos. Ryan even agreed to submit an affidavit. I didn't ask him to. He offered. She played me too, he said. Let's end this. Jessica exploded. She started showing up unannounced, banging on the door, sending long, vicious messages that swung from begging to blaming. In one breath, she'd accuse me of ruining her life, and in the next, she threatened to reclaim what was stolen. But nothing was stolen. She handed it away. Piece by piece. The real twist? My brother. Turns out he had known. She'd been feeding him stories about our marriage for over a year. He never told me. Said he didn't want to interfere. I stopped talking to him after that. Some betrayals cut differently. The divorce hearing was set. A date now circled on my calendar like a countdown to something clean. Ryan texted me the day after we filed. She always talked about control. I just thought she meant her job. I replied. She never stopped performing. What she didn't understand was that I no longer needed her apologies. Or her answers. Or even her signature. I was already gone. The courthouse was colder than I expected. Not physically, just in atmosphere. Dry, sterile, emotionless, like the building itself had long since stopped caring about the kind of lives that passed through its doors. It smelled like old paper and recycled air. The kind of place where promises go to die quietly. Jessica arrived 20 minutes late. On purpose, probably. She stepped into the hallway like it was a runway. Tight blazer, fresh blowout, those same stilettos that now felt like her armor. She didn't look at me. Not once. Just breezed past like I was the janitor and she was the CEO of someone else's justice. Her lawyer was a shark in heels. Mine was older, quiet, the kind who didn't posture, just waited. I liked that about him. The judge entered. The room stood. Papers shuffled. Names read. The formality of it all almost made it feel less real. Then the testimonies started. Jessica went first. Her voice was calm. Practiced. She painted herself as the abandoned wife. Claimed I'd checked out emotionally long before the affair. That she had tried to reach me dozens of times but was always met with cold silence. I watched her lie. And lie. And lie. Not once did she mention Ryan by name. Not once did she admit to the affair. She danced around it like a seasoned performer. She used words like misunderstood connection and emotional drift. When it was my turn, I didn't raise my voice. I just read. I read her emails. I passed the judge the printed thread from her and Ryan, the one where she described our anniversary as deadweight and joked about getting me to fund the next chapter. The judge's brow twitched. Her lawyer objected. Claimed it was taken out of context. But it wasn't. Then I submitted the affidavit from Ryan. He had written it out in detail, dates, places, what she told him, how she misled him. How she manipulated both of us. Jessica didn't flinch. But she wouldn't look up. Then came the kicker, the group chat. The one titled Jay's New Chapter. My lawyer had subpoenaed phone records. Her phone lit up like a beacon of betrayal. Photos she'd sent. Messages trashing me. Voice notes mocking the whole process. When court recessed, she followed me into the hallway. Are you proud of yourself? She hissed. Dragging me through this? Making a show of your little sob story. I turned to her, calm. You did that all by yourself. She smirked. It won't matter. I'll land on my feet. I'm sure you will, I said. That's what survivors do, right? Burn everyone around them and then call it evolution. She stepped closer. You think people are gonna see you as a victim? You think anyone's gonna care? I leaned in. I don't care anymore who sees what. I cared about you. I fought for you. But now? I wouldn't lift a finger to save you from your own fire. We went back into the courtroom. No more words between us. The judge ruled in my favor. She walked out without waiting for the paperwork. Didn't look back. Not once. As I left the building, I saw Ryan waiting by a bench outside. He stood when he saw me. Gave a nod. No words. Just understanding. Two ghosts of the same storm, walking away from the same wreck. The paperwork was finalized 3 weeks later. Quietly. Without fanfare. Just an email in my inbox, judgment entered. Divorce granted. No confetti, no fireworks, no parade, just freedom wrapped in a PDF. I didn't celebrate. Not right away. There wasn't joy in it. Just air. Clean, undemanding air. For the first time in years, I could breathe without feeling like I owed someone my breath. Jessica didn't reach out. Not directly. But she made sure I heard from her. The first was a mutual friend, Lauren. We hadn't spoken in months, but she texted me late one night. Lauren, she's been telling people you tried to ruin her financially. Said you weaponized the court? You okay? I replied with a simple. Me, she ruined herself. Then came the email. Not from Jessica. From Ryan. Subject line, you were right. The body was short. Ryan. She's unraveling. Told me I was a mistake 2 days after court. Called me a dead end with abs. I left. Just thought you should know. She's not building anything. She's burning through people. I sat there, reading that over and over. Not out of vindication, but because it proved something I had quietly suspected all along. Jessica didn't love anyone. Not me. Not Ryan. Maybe not even herself. She was just trying to win at a game only she knew the rules to, and every player was disposable. A few days later, I saw her. By accident. Grocery store. Frozen foods. She was wearing a hoodie, no makeup, hair pulled into a messy bun. Her eyes darted when she saw me. She turned down another aisle too quickly. But not before I caught the hesitation. The flicker. I didn't chase her. Didn't call out. But something unexpected happened right then. I felt nothing. No hate. No anger. No need for closure. Just nothing. She didn't get the apology. Or the scene. Or the proof that I was still broken. And maybe that was the first real one I'd had in a long time. Later that night, I took the last box out of storage. The one with the ring. The one I never got to give her. I took it down to the lake. Unclasped the velvet. And tossed it. It sank without a splash. Just vanished. Like she did. Like we did. I walked back to the car with the quiet understanding that sometimes you don't get justice. Sometimes you just get away. It had been almost 2 months. The house was sold. The furniture split. My name was on a new lease, a smaller place with worn floorboards and crooked cabinet doors, and I loved it. Not because it was perfect, but because it was mine. No echoes of someone else's lipstick on the glasses. No lies hiding behind a closet door. My phone buzzed on a rainy Thursday afternoon. Unknown number. I ignored it. It buzzed again. Same number. Then a message. Unknown. We need to talk. Just once. I swear. Please. I didn't respond. I paced instead, hands in my pockets, heart doing that old war drum thing I thought I'd finally buried. 5 minutes passed. Then another text. Unknown. I owe you something. Curiosity won. Against my better judgment I replied. Me. Where? She chose a public place. A cafe on the edge of downtown, neutral ground. No wine glasses to slam, no bedroom to storm out of. I arrived early, sat in the corner with my back to the wall, watching every person come in like they were part of a movie I already knew the ending to. Jessica walked in 5 minutes late, of course. But this time she didn't perform. No lipstick. No fake smiles. No click of heels. She looked small. Not physically. Spiritually. As if her sharpness had dulled and she hadn't noticed until it was too late. She sat down across from me. Thanks, she said. Voice soft. Real, maybe for the first time. I said nothing. She looked out the window, then back at me. I know you don't believe me, but I never planned to hurt you. I waited. She shifted. I thought I wanted freedom. Power. Something that made me feel alive. But it wasn't about you. It was never about you. That's the problem, I said. She looked like she wanted to cry but didn't. Maybe because she'd already done it. Maybe because she didn't have it in her anymore. I lost control of everything, she admitted. Ryan's gone. Most of my friends don't pick up anymore. My job's on shaky ground. I thought I could control all the pieces, but it turns out I'm not good at playing God. I stared at her. Let the silence stretch. I'm not asking to fix anything, she added. I just wanted to tell you that you didn't deserve it. Any of it. And for a brief, fragile second, I believed her. But I also knew something deeper. Apologies don't untangle a noose. They just come too late, long after the rope's already left its mark. I know, I said finally. She looked relieved. Like she needed that from me, not forgiveness, just acknowledgement. But she didn't get what she really wanted. I stood up. I hope you find whatever it is you're chasing. And then I left her there. Not because I wanted to hurt her, but because I had already healed. It's strange how quietly the world continues after your life explodes. The sun still rises. Trash still gets picked up on Tuesdays. People still honk at green lights like they're late for something that matters. I didn't think I'd make it here to this side of the mess. I thought I'd stay twisted in the pain, stuck between what I thought we were and what we actually became. But the truth is, healing doesn't look like fireworks or epiphanies. It's more like this. I deleted her number. I got a dog. I learned how to cook something other than pasta. I laughed for real at a dumb joke a stranger made in line at the coffee shop. Little things. Real things. The scar she left behind is still there. I feel it when I pass the old grocery store, when a familiar song comes on, when someone asks if I'm seeing anyone and I hesitate longer than I should. But scars don't hurt, they remind. They teach. What Jessica taught me more than betrayal, more than anger, was clarity. Love without respect is hollow. Trust without truth is theater. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. Ryan moved to another city. Last I heard, he's doing okay. We haven't stayed in touch, but we shook hands the last time we saw each other, a silent truce between two survivors. I don't think either of us regrets walking away. As for Jessica, I don't know. I don't check. I don't ask. I don't need to. Some part of her probably still thinks I hate her. That I sit around planning comebacks or wishing her pain. But she's wrong. I don't hate her. Hate requires space in your heart, and she doesn't live there anymore. What she doesn't understand, what she never could, is that forgiveness isn't about the other person. It's about choosing peace over permission. It's about walking away without a need for justice, because freedom is justice. So, if you're reading this, if you've been lied to, left behind, made to question your worth, hear me. You're not broken. You were just honest in a world that rewards performance. Let them go. Let yourself begin. Because once I did, I found myself again. And I'll never let him get lost in someone else's shadow again.